यन्माया वशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावता वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारण परं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ओम 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 जय राम जय राम सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। We will chant the Mangala Charanam of AyodhyaKand. यस्यांके च विभाते भूधरसुता देवापगामस्तके भाले बालविधुर्गले च गरलं यस्योरसे व्यालराट् सोऽयं भूतिविभूषणः सुरवरः सर्वाधिपः सर्वदा शर्वः सर्वगतः शिवः शशिनिभः श्रीशङ्करः पातु मां प्रसन्नतां ज्ञानगताभिषेकतः तथा न मम्ले वनवासदुःखतः मुखाम्बुजश्रीरघुनन्दनस्य मे सदास्तु सामञ्जुलमङ्गलप्रदा नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागम् पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् श्रीगुरुचरण सरोजरज निजमनुमुकुर सुधारे बरनौ रघुवर विमल जसो जोदायक फलचारी सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Hari Om. We had started AyodhyaKand in the last session and we saw what is meant by Sopana. Sopana means a step to enter into this Ramcharitmanas, to come closer to bhagavan, to know what is his nature. With that lens, if we study AyodhyaKand, something new will open up. It depends on what lens we are wearing. If you look at it from the lens of Vedanta, you will find Vedantic meaning there. If you look at it from the lens of Nyaya, you will find all Nyaya Chaupais there. Because Goswamiji, his study is so vast that he has brought in ideas from different places. Then we also saw different meanings of Ayodhya. Simple meaning is that mind which doesn't have yuddha, that mind which doesn't have conflicts inside. How did it accomplish that? On the strength of devotion. Mama hrudaya kanja nivasa kuru kamadi kaladala bhanjanam. Ganjanam also is said. Means Bhagwan, come and take avatar in my heart and finish all these enemies which are there. That mind which is devoid of all enemies, that is Ayodhya. Otherwise, imagine what will be the state of a king who is always busy fighting internal enemies. Kingdom is there, king is also there, but all the time there is some or the other battle going on in his kingdom inside. Means he cannot invest his time in creative things. He cannot invest his time in productive things. The blessing of Ayodhya is an available mind. That was one meaning that we had seen. Then we saw the deeper Vedantic meaning also. That Shuddha Chaitanya, which is ever non-different from me, there where no negation is possible. That Chaitanya where all negation has served its purpose, there is nothing more to negate, that is this Ayodhya. Tat nisheda avadihi sakshi bodha rupaha avashishyate. That was the quotation we had seen. Then we saw the Mangalacharanam, where it is said, may Lord Shiva come and protect me. But what is the nature of Lord Shiva? The one who has all different pairs of opposites in his personality, but yet he is calm and composed. So the main prayer was, Bhagwan, please make sure that my mind remains composed in all pairs of opposites. And if I accept this as a fact of life, what should I accept? That this whole creation is made up of pairs of opposites. That acceptance by itself removes a lot of stress. That acceptance by itself removes a lot of disappointment. Why? Because it is matter of fact, this is how world is. But our mind, we know, it is not easy to just tell it and it will accept. So the way in which it is made to mature into this understanding, that method is called as devotion. That is the prayer, Shri Shankaraha Patumam. May Lord Shiva, who is of this nature, come and protect me. There are devotees of different kinds, and they have their own Ishtadevata. Even within their Ishtadevata, they will have a specific form of that Ishtadevata. Like, in many homes, they will do Laddu Gopal. Some of them, they will like Gokulvasi, Bhagwan Krishna. Some will like Mathuravasi. Some like Dwarakadhish. All different forms of Bhagwan they will connect with. And that Leela appeals the most to them. That is why they select that. Our mind just naturally goes towards it. It finds a very special affinity towards that Leela of Bhagwan. For a devotee of Bhagwan Rama, the second Mangalacharanam shloka, that is one form of Bhagwan on which this devotee meditates. Even when we begin our day, one thought if it comes, like what Goswamiji is saying over here, right? Our whole day will be looked at in a different light. What is that prayer? May Bhagwan Rama's personality bring auspiciousness in my life. What is his personality? My Bhagwan is the one who didn't get elated when he was told he will become the king. My Bhagwan is the one who did not get dejected when he was told he will be sent to the forest. Prasannatam yana gatabhishekatah tathana mamle vanavasa dukkatah mukham bujashri raghunandanasya me sadastu me manjula mangala prada. May this personality of Bhagwan come and protect me. This is Upasana. There are different supports on which we can do Upasana. One support is the physical form of Bhagwan. One support is name of Bhagwan. Another support is Swabhava of Bhagwan. Swabhava means what is his personality like. On that, this devotee can meditate. That is this Mangalacharanam. Then we saw entire Ramayana, different Leelas. Goswamiji paints a picture in just one verse. That also was there. And then the famous Doha we saw, Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja. That also we saw. Now the camera moves to the court of Dashrath Maharaj, where he is seated in the court. And then it looks as though the Punya Karma, they are the clouds, and rain is falling as happiness, Sukham, in Ayodhya. Now a thought comes in the mind of Dashrath Maharaj. What is that thought? We will see after Doha number 1. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 एक समय सब सहित समाजा, राजसभा रघुराजु बिराजा, सकल सुकृत मूरति नर नाहु, राम सुजसु सुनि अति ही उछाहु, नृप सब रहि कृपा अभिलाषे, लोकप करहि प्रतीति रुख राखे, त्रिभुवन तीन काल जग माहि, भूरि भाग दशरथ समनाहि, मंगल मूल राम सुत जासु, जो कछु कहि यथोर सबुतासु, राय सुभाय मुकुर कर लीन्हा, बदनु बिलोकि मुकुट समकीन्हा, श्रवण समीप भये सित केसा, मनहु जरठपन अस उपदेसा, नृपजुब राजु राम कहु देहु, जीवन जन्म लाहु किन लेहु, यह विचारु उर आनि नृप, सुदिनु सुअवसरु पाई, प्रेम पुलकितन मुदित मन, गुरहि सुनायौ जाई, कहूँ भुवालु सुनिय मुनि नायक, भये राम सब विधि सब लायक, सेवक सचिव सकल पुरबासी, जे हमारे अरि मित्र उदासी, सब ही राम प्रिय जेहि विधि मोहि, प्रभु असीस जनु तनु धरि सोहि, विप्र सहित परिवार गोसाई, करहि छोहु सब रऊ रिहिनाई, जे गुर चरण रेणु सिर धरहि, जे जनु सकल विभव बस करहि, मोहि समयहु अनुभयउ न दूजे, सब पायउ रज पावनि पूजे, अब अभिलाषु एक मन मोरे, पूजिहि नाथ अनुग्रह तोरे, मुनि प्रसन्न लखि सहज सनेहु, कहेउ नरेश जाय सुदेहु, राजन राउर नामु जसु, सब अभिमत दातार, फल अनुगामी महिपमनि, मन अभिलाषु तुम्हार, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। One of the uniqueness of Goswamiji in Ramcharitmanas is he will paint a picture in such a way that you will feel as though you are seeing that scene in Ramcharitmanas. In the court of Dashrath Maharaj is seated. How does Dashrath Maharaj look? You see his description. Ek samay sab sahita samaja, Raja Sabha Raghuraj Biraja. Dashrath Maharaj is seated in his court. Who is Dashrath Maharaj? How does he look? Sakal Sukruta Murati Nara Nahu, Rama Sujasu Suni Atihi Uchahu. It looks as though all Punya Karma has taken a physical form. That physical form is of Dashrath Maharaj. And the one who gets delight just in listening to Bhagwan Rama's glory, that is our Dashrath Maharaj. Now he is a devotee, no doubt, but he is also very powerful. What is his power? Look at this line. Nrupa sab rahi krupa abhilashe. All kings are surrounding him, hoping that his grace is on them. That is his power. Even if Indra had some war to be fought, he would call Dashrath Maharaj. Later, Goswamiji writes in one place, who is Dashrath Maharaj? He is the one under whose arm Indra found shelter. I can ask Sanjeev ji if he knows the Chaupai. So there is one later Chaupai where he writes, that is how Dashrath Maharaj is, under whose arm Indra found strength. That Dashrath Maharaj, he is sitting in the court. Sakala Sukruta Tibhuvana Tini Kala Jaga Mahi Bhuri Bhaga Dasarata Samanahi. Other Lokpalas are also there. They are also trying to be in the good books of Dashrath Maharaj. And in all the three worlds, there is no one who is same or whose example you can find for Dashrath Maharaj. So somebody might say, Goswamiji, you are exaggerating. There were so many kings. Why do you say that? Nobody is there like Dashrath Maharaj. He said there is only one reason. What is that? Mangala Moola Rama Sutta Jasu. What can we talk about the greatness of the person whose son is Bhagwan Rama? Jo kachu kahiya thora sabatasu. No matter how much you describe, all of that is little only, because what he has is something uncomparable. Bhagwan has taken avatar, he has played in his courtyard, and he has blessed him in all ways. Raya Subhaya Mukura Karalina Badanu Biloki Mukuta Samakina. Now this is a very strange prasanga. Imagine king sitting in the court, all ministers are there. He takes a mirror and looks in that mirror. And his mukuta, crown, was little tilted. He adjusts it little bit and then makes it right. Why did he do this? We don't know. But Goswamiji writes another line after this, which opens up some more thing. Shravana Samipa Bhayesita Kesa Manahu Jaratapanu Jasa Upadesa. While he tilts his mukuta, he sees a grey hair near his ear. But seeing grey hair near the ear is not something very strange. But what Dashrath Maharaj understood, that is very unique. He said, as though somebody is giving me upadesha. Somebody is coming to my ear and whispering something. What are they whispering? Nrupajuba Raju Rama Kahu Dehu Jivana Janama Lahu Kinalehu. O king, you have lived a good life. You have seen sufficient of life. Now make Bhagwan Rama as Yuraja and come to enjoy, come to appreciate the main purpose of life. That is that line, Jevana Janama Lahu Kinalehu. Meaning what? Purpose of life is not kingdom. Kingdom is sadhana, not sadhya. Sadhya means goal of life. Sadhana means the means to reach that goal. Car is there. Is car sadhana or sadhya? Huh? Sadhana. Okay. All other accessories that we have, phone is there, gadgets that are there, GPS is there. Is it sadhana or sadhya? Home is there. Is it sadhana or sadhya? If you start inquiring, you will realize everything that we have in life is sadhana, not sadhya. Sadhya is Chaitanya Swarupa Brahma, or devotional way you say, Bhagwan. That instruction Dashrath Maharaj got. Now this is a very beautiful chaupai. Shravana Samipa Bhayesita Kesa Manahu Jaratapanu Asa Upadesa. Whenever we see grey hair, what is the immediate instinct? Either to pluck it or to color it, dye it to go it back, to make it look black. Whatever is natural need not be changed. But over here, the grey hair represents Sattva Guna. White represent sattva, meaning when sattva is high, the upadesha of shastra becomes very clear for that sadhaka. When sattva guna is high, as though Shruti Mata comes and whispers that upadesha in his ears. Because previously, he must have heard it so many times. It is not that first time he is listening to Shastra or anything, but it hits us at a very different stage. And whenever Sattva Guna is high, the injunctions of Shastra become more clear to that sadhaka. Injunctions of Shastra become more clear to that sadhaka. I had heard in one of Puja Guruji's talks, I don't remember which talk it was, Guruji was sharing this anecdote to explain this point, that everybody hears things, but it makes sense to them at different times. He said there was an elderly person who wanted to take a nap in the afternoon, but evening he had to go somewhere. So he called his granddaughter and he said, wake me up at 4 o'clock. Wake me up at 4 o'clock. His granddaughter, right at 4 o'clock, came and said, Grandpa, time is up. Grandpa, time is up. That person suddenly woke up and he heard time is up. And he left everything and went directly for spiritual sadhana. Now, time is up, all of us here. Right? But because he had that samskara, that same sentence made a very different impact. What makes that difference? We say that is sattva guna. Same injunction will come and appeal in a different way when sattva guna is high. There is another story in the life of Lord Buddha. He was known for these teachings in a very cryptic way. So one day a king comes to him with lot of diamonds and jewels and everything. And he also brings a very unique lotus, wanting to give it to Lord Buddha. And king with all his paraphernalia walking, coming closer to him. Lord Buddha is just sitting there. Lord Buddha just looks at him and says, drop it. He says, drop it. Now king wonders, what should I drop? He has just come with that plate and everything. So he thinks maybe he's talking about these diamonds and jewels and everything, so he drops it. Then he still has the lotus in his hand, He's going to Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha again says, drop it. He drops that lotus. Now Lord Buddha is sitting, just going closer and closer. Again he says, drop it. He wonders what is remaining to be dropped. Then it clicks. He's telling me to drop my individuality. This ahankara. With that ahankara, you dropped everything else. But when you come to me, you will have to drop this ahankara also. Yena tyajasi tat tyaja. That by which you gave up everything else, drop that also. Now, interesting thing is, everybody heard. The king came with many people, but only one person dropped. So that sattva guna will decide who is the right adhikari who will get this message. Because teaching was the same for everybody. But only the fit student will put forth effort to align his or her life with this teaching. Goswami Tulsidas Ji himself, right? When he goes and meets his wife Ratnavali in that house. You all know the story, right? I don't have to repeat the story. Okay. Some of you might be new to this. So Goswami Ji was very attached, to his wife in the beginning part of his life. So much so that he did not want to leave her even for a day. And one day she goes to her father's house. In the middle of the night, he comes home, from his shop. It is raining heavily, crosses that river. Somehow or the other holds on to a snake and then goes inside, climbing up to her house and then goes inside. He's the first person who changed the example in Vedanta. Generally, we mistake rope to be snake. He mistook snake to be rope. He went up and then went inside thinking that she will be very happy. And what did she say? If you had half of this devotion to Bhagwan Rama, you would have crossed over samsara. That one line was sufficient for him to drop everything and go. Somebody said this to Puja Guruji, that Tulsidas ji, he got Upadesha from his wife, and look at him, what happened. Guruji said, you get scolded every day. Nothing happens. Tulsidas ji became Tulsidas, you became Kulfidas. Or you remained Kulfidas. The point here is, what is the main ingredient which will make sure that Upadesha works for me? That ingredient is Sattva Guna, but read the previous chaupais also. How did that Sattva Guna come? Dharmate birati, jogate jnana. All the dharmic life that Dashrath Maharaj has lived, the sweet result of that dharma was in this Sattva Guna. And it made sure that he comes to appreciate the teaching of Shastra. What is the teaching of Shastra? That if you have done pravritti very well, the next stage is nivritti. Now again, nivritti doesn't just mean sitting in one place. Nivritti means doing different type of actions. More reflection, more of Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. That result Dashrath Maharaj got. Yaha bicharu ura anindrupa sudina suvava sarupai. Having gotten this thought that he has to give the kingdom to Bhagwan Rama, he's in a great hurry now. He says, I have to quickly go to my guru's house and tell him this and seek his blessings. Prema pulakitanam muditamana gurahi sunayamu jai. With lot of delight, lot of joy in his heart, he's going and he's wanting to go and meet his teacher, Vasishtha Maharshi. Now he goes and folds his hands in front of Vasishtha Maharshi and see what he's saying. Kahaye bhuvalu suniya muni nayaka, bhaye Rama sabha bidhi sabha layaka. He's telling Vasishtha Maharshi with all humility that now I think Bhagwan Rama is ready. He's ready to take on bigger roles in Ayodhya. Now he says, not only I am saying this, but this is how everybody feels. He's making that clear also. Because otherwise, son is very dear to everybody. Right? So this portion you should compare with Dhritarashtra. Both love their sons. Dhritarashtra loves Duryodhana. Dashrath Maharaj loves Bhagwan Rama. And both think their sons are fit. But you see the difference in which Dashrath Maharaj is approaching and how Dhritarashtra approaches. In this entire portion, it looks as though Dashrath Maharaj is very clear. The one who is going to give the kingdom is not me. He says, one who is going to give the kingdom to Bhagwan Rama is Vasishtha Maharshi. He says, kingdom belongs to him, and he will be the one who will give this kingdom to Bhagwan Rama if he feels it is appropriate. That is why he has come to his house. Right? Otherwise, you could have just made Bhagwan Rama the king. Dhritarashtra never asked anybody. Right? He asked Shakuni, the wrong person. He would listen to Shakuni. But Dashrath Maharaj is the ideal student. Sevaka sachiva sakala purabasi, je hamare ari mitra udasi. He tells Vasishtha Maharshi, not only I think in this way that Bhagwan Rama is ready, but all the sevakas, everybody who is there in my palace, sachiva, all the ministers, all other political people who are there, because he has to work with all of them. They also have the same opinion, and all people of Ayodhya, they also think Bhagwan Rama is the most appropriate person. Je hamare ari mitra udasi. This is Bhagwan Rama's greatness. Even those who are our enemies, our friends, and those who are indifferent to us, everybody loves Bhagwan Rama. How do they love him? Just like I love Bhagwan Rama, in the same way, our enemies love him, our friends love him, and also those who are indifferent. Udasi means indifferent. They also like Bhagwan Rama. Sabahi Ramu Priya Jehi Bida Mohi, Prabhu Asisa Janu Tanu Dhari Sohi. But how was this accomplished? How did Bhagwan Rama become so dear to everybody? He says it was all by your grace. Previously we had seen Kausalya ji also praising Bhagwan Rama. Sakala amanusha karma tumhare. All your deeds are so divine. But what did she say? All of this is grace of your teacher Vishwamitra Rishi. Now Father Dasharatha Maharaj is also praising. What he says, this is your greatness, Vasishtha Maharshi is telling. Now this is one quality of a devotee. Bhagwan is showing in his charitra. In 12th chapter, Bhagwan Krishna said, Yasmat no dvijate lokaha, lokan no dvijate chayaha. Who is a devotee? Devotee is the one who does not agitate anybody. In all his transactions, in all his vyavahara, this he keeps in mind, that may my transaction not agitate anybody else. To do that, whatever needs to be done is bhakti. To accomplish this fact, not to agitate anybody, whatever has to be done, that is bhakti. Whatever has to be done, that is sadhana. When Bhagwan Rama goes to find a place to live, he has only one criteria for his house hunting. Generally, there are so many criteria, right? We have school district and this and that. He has only one criteria. What does he say? Muni udbegana pavana koi. Valmiki Rishi, Bhagwan Rama says, I want to live in a place where no Rishi Muni gets udvega. Means no Rishi Muni is agitated. In that sensitivity he has, that because of me, somebody should not, get agitated. And what is the other side of it? One side is he does not agitate others. Another side is he does not get agitated by others. For this, you take any example of a devotee, Prahlad you take, Mirabai you take. It is not that they were not, or they had everything which was according to how they wanted. They were also made to go through so many difficulties. Prahladji's story, all of us know, right? Hiranyakashipu, what all things he did. But not even once in that entire Prahlada Charitra, he says anything towards Hiranyakashipu. Not even one, complaint. And what does he ask after everything? He says, Bhagwan, please make sure that Hiranyakashipu, my father, gets moksha. That is the heart of a devotee. Mirabai also, we know, so many difficulties, so many challenges. But that is what makes them a devotee. One who doesn't agitate others, also one who does not get agitated by others. Meaning what? Our devotion should have some strength. I call myself devotee also, but it doesn't have that much strength to face these two pairs of opposites. That if we can try, then it helps us in our sadhana. That was this line. Bhaye Rama Bidhi, Saba Bidhi Layaka, but Je Hamare Ari Mitra Udasi, Sabahi Ramu Priya Jihi Bidhi Mohi. How did Bhagwan Rama become so dear to everybody? Because he showed these qualities. One who does not agitate others, does not get agitated by others. Je Gura Charana Renu Sira Dharahi, Te Janu Sakala Vibhava Vasakarahi. Before that, there was one line, right? Vipra Sahita Parivara Gusai, Karahi Cho Saba Raurihi Nahi. Now, first he gave his own example. He said, all these people, our enemies, they also like Bhagwan Rama just like I do. And all Brahmanas, Vipra Sahita Parivara Gusai, all our family members, everybody love Bhagwan Rama just like you do. You know what this is? This is called as Upamana Pramana. If you have to communicate emotions, you cannot do it through pratyaksha. How I am feeling, how will you communicate? Right? Even if, let us say, tooth is hurting, how will you communicate that pain? You see, you have to give some upamana. You have to give some example by which you can communicate that thing. So Vasishtha Maharshi knows how he loves Bhagwan Ram. So Dashrath Maharaj is using Upamana Pramana to say that everybody loves Bhagwan just like you are loving Bhagwan. Now he is giving a secret of prosperity. Dashrath Maharaj says, this is a tried and tested formula. I have seen the result of this in my life. Prosperity outside, prosperity inside. What is that? Je gura charana renu sira dharahi, te janu sakala vibhava basakarahi. Those who have Guru Bhakti, those who are devoted to the teacher, there is nothing in this world that is difficult for them to achieve. Mohi samaya anubhayavu na duje, sabapayavu raja pavani puje. And this I can validate from my own experiences. This result I have seen in my life, that is the greatness of Guru Bhakti. In Bhagavatam, there is one portion where it is said, how should we win over our inner enemies? Like Kama is there, an antidote is given. Asankalpat jayet kamam. And then Krodha is there. For that, a specific antidote is given. Lobha and so on. But the last line of that entire verse is, Etat sarvam gurau bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayet. Shukdevji Maharaj says, I gave one by one antidote, but if somebody has Guru Bhakti, all these things are achieved for that person effortlessly. That is the greatness of devotion to the teacher. Etat sarvam gurau bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayet. Means separately they don't have to put lot of effort. Everything is included over here. This same portion, Puja Guruji has composed another text called as Manashodhanam. Manashodhanam is based on those set of verses from Bhagavatam. How to purify the mind? By individually looking at all these different enemies which are there. But the final line is this one, very beautiful. Now he says, after all this, I have one desire. Abba abhilashu ekamana more, puja hi nata anugraha tore. One desire I have, and that also will be fulfilled by your grace. So Vasishtha Maharshi, what is that ask? What is that desire? He doesn't tell it right away. He is just saying that I have one desire. He doesn't directly tell. Why? Because he has to first make sure that teacher is happy. Muni prasann laki sahaja sanehu, kahevu naresa rajaya sudehu. You look at what is the closeness of Vasishtha Maharshi. He says, why are you folding your hands? Give me the order. Rajayasu means you should order. What is your greatness? He says, Rajana Raura Namujasu Saba Abhimata Datar. Your name is so great. Vasishtha Maharshi is telling about Dashrath Maharaj. By taking your name, whatever a person wants, that they will get. And you have a very unique quality, he says. What is that quality? In general, we have a desire. And then we have an object of desire. And this desire will slowly move towards that object. We will also go along with it towards that object. But he says, your case is different. In your case, the order is flipped. The result or that object follows your desire. Means you just have to wish for something, that object will already be there. That is this line. Phala anugami mahipamana mana abhilashu tumhara. What is your abhilasha like? What is your desire like? Your desire is phala anugami. In normal case, desire is here, phalam is here, and desire will walk towards that object. In Dashrath Maharaj's case, he just has to desire. Phala anugami. Phala will come towards his desire. The Hindi translation is a little different, but you can take this meaning. Now, teacher is pleased, so he is going to continue this dialogue. Let us chant after third doha. सब विधि गुरु प्रसन्न जिय जानी, बोले उरा उरा हसी मृदु बानी। नाथ राम करियहि जुबराजो, कहिय कृपा करिय समाजो। मोहि अछत यहु होय उछाहु, लहहि लोग सब लोचन लाहु। प्रभु प्रसाद शिव सबई निबाहि, यह लालसा एक मन माहि। पुनि न सोच तनु रहु न जाऊ, जेहि न होई पाछे पछिताऊ। सुनि मुनि दशरथ बचन सुहाये, मंगल मोद मूल मन भाये। सुनु नृप जासु विमुख पछिताये, जासु भजन बिनु जरनि न जाहि। भयउ तुम्हार तनय सोई स्वामी, राम पुनीत प्रेम अनुगामी। बेगी विलंबु न करिय नृप, साजिय सबो समाज। सुदिन सुमंगल तब ही तब, राम होई जुबराज। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Now, having understood Vasishtha Maharshi to be very happy in all ways, he is now putting forth his desire. First, he just said, I have one desire. Now, finding the right time, he says, what is that desire? Nath Ramu kariyahi jubaraju. Means he is very clear that I am not going to make him the king. O Vasishtha Maharshi, my request is, please make Bhagwan Rama the king of Ayodhya. Means make him the Yuvaraja. That is my desire. Kahiya krupa kariya samaju. And after that, please make sure that you guide us also. What are the preparations needed? What are the things that we should be doing? All that guidance has to come from you only. And he says, this should happen when I'm alive. This is what I want to see. This is what is my last desire. Everything else, by your grace, Lord Shiva has given us. You see that thing, huh? Prabhu Prasada Shiva Sabai Nibahi. Prabhu Prasada means your Prasada. By that, Bhagwan has given us everything else. Yaha lalasa eka manamahi. But this one desire is still there in my mind. May that also be fulfilled by your grace. Once that happens, I will not have any regrets. I should not have any other regrets. That is why I want to make sure that this happens when I am alive. And listening to this, Vasishtha Maharshi ji is very happy. Suni Muni Dasaratha Bachana Suhaye Mangala Moda Mula Manabhaye. Very pure-hearted, very simple. That is the personality of Dashrath Maharaj. And listening to that, Vasishtha Maharshi ji is very pleased. Now he points out, what is the greatness of Dashrath Maharaj? Vasishtha Maharshi ji is pointing out what is the greatness of Dashrath Maharaj. He says that Bhagwan staying away from whom people become sorrowful. Not appreciating this point, that agitation in our mind cannot go away without devotion to Bhagwan. That Bhagwan has come as your son. This is your greatness. You see that chaupai, one above, fourth doha. Sunun rupa jasu bimukha pachitai. Bimukha pachitai means those who are turned away from Bhagwan. So much of conflict is there, agitation is there. Jasu bhajano binu jarani na jahi. Means without this devotion to Bhagwan, agitation in our mind will not go away. Means we should put it we should flip it and also understand. If I am feeling any agitation in my mind, it is most likely that I have forgotten Bhagwan at that time. It is true in that way also. Without devotion, agitation does not go away. Meaning what? Whenever Bhagwan is remembered, these agitations cannot bother us. And more one develops the closeness with Bhagwan, more is the strength to go through that agitation. It won't happen overnight, right? Because they have gone through a long journey, but path is the same. You see the confidence of Vasishtha Maharshi. Jasu bhajanu binu jarani na jahi. He says, without dissolving ourselves in samashti. To put it in a very poetic way, without tuning to the cosmic will. People like that, they say cosmic will. Cosmic will is what we call as bhagwan. Staying away from that, thinking myself to be alone, thinking myself to be separate from that totality, he says we will never find Vishram in our life. We will never find Ashraya. All other supports that we hold on to look very good in the beginning. But we realize it is not the absolute support. That is what devotion does. Takes our mind away from other supports and puts it in Bhagavan. Bhayo tumara tanaya soi swami. O Dashrath Maharaj, this is your greatness, that Bhagavan, remembering whom agitation of everybody goes away, that Bhagavan has come as your son. Rama punita prema anugami. Who is Bhagavan Rama? Where does he go? He says he goes there where there is pure love. Prema punita, Rama punita prema anugami. Meaning what? You have that kind of love. That is why he has come as your son. Begi bilambuna kariyanupa sajiya sabahu samaja. O king, don't wait for too long now, because shreyasya bahu vignani. Anything which is auspicious, there are a lot of vignas that come, so make sure that you don't delay. That's why they say, whenever we decide to do some sadhana, right, don't wait for the auspicious day. Jab jage tabhi savera. Whenever you wake up, that is your day. If I say only the day when I wake up at 4 o'clock, that day I will do japa. You will constantly keep waiting. That day will not come. Japa also will not happen. On the other hand, if we start, it is more likely that we will start waking up at 4 o'clock. That is how sadhana works. Just don't wait for the right day, the right time. Sudina sumangalu tabahi jaba, Ramu hohi jubaraja. Which is an auspicious day for coronation. The day on which Bhagavan is coronated, he says that is the auspicious day. That is the auspicious time. Don't wait for another time. There is one mantra that we chant during puja. Tadeva lagnam sudinam tadeva, tarabalam chandrabalam tadeva, then vidyabalam devabalam tadeva, Lakshmi pater angri yugam smarami. What is the meaning of that? We are invoking what is the auspicious muhurta for this pujanam. We say, what does an auspicious muhurta do? It has all the powers. What are the powers? Tadeva lagnam sudinam tadeva. Means that is the auspicious time, that is the auspicious day, which has the power of all the planets. Tarabalam, Chandrabalam Tadeva. Everything which can be auspicious is, perfect at that time. Vidyabalam, all the knowledge that we need, everything is there. Devabalam is there. Devatas are pleased, they will bestow their blessings at that time. That is an auspicious moment. But what is that time? He says, whenever you remember Bhagavan, that is that auspicious time. Lakshmi pater angri yugam smarami. Means I am worshipping or doing dhyanam. I am meditating upon the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Whenever I do that, all these things line up. That is Sudina. That is this Sumangala Avasara. Whenever we remember Bhagavan, it is said that is the auspicious time. That is the right time for coronation to happen. That is this Chaupai. Now Dashrath Maharaj, he doesn't wait. He has gotten the approval from his guru. So he calls Sumantraji. Shares the good news. And all other ministers who are there, he calls everybody. And you see their way of greeting. This is after 4th Doha. Kahi jaya jiva sis tinhanaye bhupa sumangala bachana sunaye. The way of greeting of Sumantraji is Jai Jeev. That is how they used to greet. Means, may the punya of all jivas come to you. You are the representative of all of us. May everything good and auspicious be with you. Auspiciousness be with you. Now, Dashrath Maharaj, you see his personality. He is asking all the ministers, Jo pa chahi mata lagao nika, karahu harashi, hiya Ram hi tika. He is sharing the news, whatever Vasishtha Maharshi ji has told. And then he says, if all of you agree, then please go ahead and prepare for the Raj Tilak of Bhagwan Rama. Now, this is where you have to contrast against Dhritarashtra. Ramayana Mahabharata, it's very interesting to see the parallels. Dashrath Maharaj is showing the dharma of a king. It is said, whatever thought a king gets, he should not suddenly go and do it, because it has consequences. So what he does first, goes and gets approval of his teacher. If there the answer is no, he will not even go ahead. But after he has thought about it himself, after he has done a lot of reflection, got approval of teacher, he goes and shares it with his ministers. Mantri means Gupta Paribhashi. Gupta Paribhashi means they will give secret advice, but they will give non-partial advice, impartial advice. Whatever is good for the king, that they will advise. That is their role. Goswamiji writes later, minister, doctor, and guru. Unless they give right advice, the other person will be at loss. Minister, doctor, and guru, all three have to give impartial advice that will benefit the other person. That is our Dashrath Maharaj. He says, if all of you agree, because as a father, I might have some partiality, I might have some other opinion, but if all of you agree, then go and start preparing. Now, they are also, Dutas, they are also ministers of Dashrath Maharaj. They also know how to speak. You see what they say. Mantri mudita sunata priyabani abhimata birava pareu janupani. This desire was already there in their heart. It was as though this little plant which was there, it got water. The words of Dashrath Maharaj. Sometimes when you want something, another person tells, the same thing. That joy what we experience, that joy, Dashrath Maharaj and all the other ministers, they experienced. Now they fold their hands and pray for long life of Dashrath Maharaj. Because they want to make sure that if they suddenly start celebrating, he should not feel bad. Because he is also a great king and he will remain the king. Bhagwan Rama will become Yuvaraja. Jeu Jagatapati Barisa Karori. Jagamangala Bhala Kaju Bichara Begya Nathana Layo Vara. He says, all the minister, Sumantraji says, this thought of yours will bring lot of auspiciousness to all of us. Please don't delay this. We will start preparations right away. Now there is approval from all sides. Guru is happy, Mantri is happy. Then Dashrath Maharaj, he feels very happy looking at everything being in his favor. Now you see, this much is how we can describe it. How did Dashrath Maharaj feel happy? He felt very happy. We see how Goswamiji describes. Badata Baudha Janu Lahi Susakha. How was the relief and the joy that Dashrath Maharaj felt? As though there is a creeper which is going up and it finds a very strong support. Like that, Dashrath Maharaj found support in the words of Sumantraji, ministers, and his teachers. Badata Bauda Janu Lahi Susakha. Now he says to all his ministers, please go and start preparations and make sure that you follow the advice of Vasishtha Maharshi. Whatever he says, make sure that you do it. Don't question. And be very, very particular. Whatever he says, that you should bring and keep it. Now, Vasishtha Maharshi is also very pakka. He knows precisely what to say. All the details are given. First he says, don't just invoke all the rivers in the Kalash. Go and bring it from those rivers. Anahu sakala sutira tapani. Generally, what is the tradition? We cannot go every time to bring water from all rivers, right? We just chant that mantra. Gange Chamune Jevi, Godavari Saraswati, Narmade Sindhu Kaveri, Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. Means may all these rivers come and, enter this kalasha. In that we invoke, and from that we do abhisheka. But here he says no. Rajya abhisheka has to be done of Bhagwan Rama. Send people in all directions and get those holy water from those rivers. Then all other preparations, herbs are there, roots are there, and he gives very, very clear instructions on what dravya you should bring. Not very vague. Very clear instructions on what are the things to be brought. Then there is deer skin, clothes, other silken clothes are brought, different gems. Everything is arranged for this Rajya Abhisheka. Then he also has a lot of attention to details about aesthetics. He says, go and decorate all the marketplace. Make sure that you put canopies there. You should put Rangoli also. But this is Ayodhya's Rangoli. So it is filled with gems. He says, where is that chaupai? Rachau manju muni chaunke charu, kahau banavana begi bajaru. Rachau manju mani chaunke charu. Means you put the Rangoli, but fill it with all gems. And then we need to have greenery. So there is no time to plant a tree. He says, implant it from somewhere. Ropahu beethna pura chahu phera. This is the second chaupai above sixth. We don't have time. All other trees which are there with fruits, sapala rasala puga phalakera. Along with fruits, all different plants and trees you bring and decorate all the cities. Entire city of Ayodhya you decorate. But make sure that in and through all this, you don't forget Bhagavan. That is why that chaupai is there, just above 6. Pujahu Ganapati Gura Kuladeva, Sababidi Karahu, Bhumi Sura Seva. This one thing you'll notice everywhere. Here what is he saying? Worship Lord Ganesha, Ganapati, Guru and Kuladevata. Because in and through all this, attention can shift from Bhagavan. In and through all the decoration, in and through all this, gems and Rangoli and everything that he does, he says, may your attention always be on Bhagavan. With that, everything else becomes meaningful. This is the difference. Dhwaja pataka torana kalasa, sajahu turaga rathanaga. All dhwaja, pataka, flags, banners, horses, elephants, everything is ready for the coronation of Bhagwan Rama. Siradhari Munibara Bachana Sabu, Nija Nija Kajahi Lag. Until here, only is instruction part. Now everybody is taking that instruction and they're going to get ready for that. Goswamiji has his own way of writing. He says, it was as though everybody had already kept things ready. Just when Vasishtha Maharshi said, everything got arranged right away. That is how everybody prepared. How do they prepare? What do they do? That we'll see in the next session. Sorry. Aganita guna gana bhushan Rama, Ashrita vatsala jaya jaya Rama, Ayodhya vasi Sita Rama, Apad bandhava jaya jaya Rama, Dasharatha nandana Shri Rama, Dashamukha mardana jaya jaya Rama, Kausalya sukhavardhana Rama, Kamita phalada jaya jaya Rama, Papa vimochana Shri Rama, Pathavi Rama jaya jaya Rama, Janaki vallabha Sita Rama, Jaya Raghu Rama, Jaya Sita Rama, Vanara Sevita Shri Rama, Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama, Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama, Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama, Patita Pavana Sita Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, श्री राम जय जय राम, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।